One of the unique things about living in the United States is we're very much a grassroots type culture. Everybody has a cause that we believe in. The cause I very much believe in is preserving a piece of American history, and that's restoring and flying World War II airplanes. That can't happen unless we have a very healthy, very vibrant business economy. And over the last couple of years, we've come to understand that we need to do our part to help make the Chamber and the small business community successful, which is why we're here. So why would you have a survey? Well, there's a couple of reasons, but I'll explain to you why you even have a survey. We'll talk about the survey feedback, some information to help you in your planning, trying to help market your business. And then there's takeaways, because the survey is a tool that the Chamber uses to help design and better plan the expo moving forward. It's real simple. Everybody knows this. We use a survey to identify and build on what's working. If it's working, tighten it up, make it better. But you also want to use a survey to identify areas for improvement and, more importantly, discover new ideas. Sometimes when you're successful, you get a little complacent. A survey can help you identify where you can improve what your program is doing. But most importantly, at the end of the day, we want to understand our customers' expectations and needs. The small business owner Chamber members are the customer. The survey is a great tool to find out how the business expo is working for participants. Make sense so far? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Feedback is good.
Good. Applause is better.
The applause is better, right. So here's the data that we got back. We had 112 surveys returned, which is excellent, I think. We were north of 142 participants, and that may be understated. But one of the things we asked is, have you ever participated in a trade show event before? Well, 80% of the survey respondents are savvy. They've participated in expos. And more than half of the respondents had participated specifically in the Fayette County Chamber Expo at least 3.5 times. How did most people find out about the expo? Chamber Communications. So this is a plug for the program that Connie manages. If you want to reach other small business owner, the Chamber Communications plan is a great way to do it. Most people, their experience with the expo itself and the organization was high. On the low end is 4.7 on a scale of 5. Those are extremely high marks for any kind of B2B experience. And as far as communication, this is a theme that you're going to hear more and more, is that the participants rated the Chamber communications leading up to the Chamber is very, very high. Very high marks around the volunteers, the staff. And remember, this is a business investment, but the staff are all volunteers. About 80% of the people you're going to run into through the week, through the day, they're volunteering their time. Just remember that. So be kind when you know that somebody may have forgotten to follow through on the commitment. The loading process, operations, logistics, again, very high. That's a tribute to the advanced communications. And the exhibitor's guide that's distributed beforehand, it's a great tool. You can tell from the feedback that on a scale of 5, 4.66, use the guide. It'll help make the experience better for everybody. And the people that attended the seminar last year, 4.6 on a scale of 5, so there was some good takeaways in terms of marketing your participation in the seminar. And about a quarter of the people who attended plan to come back and attend the follow-up seminar. And almost 8 out of 10 people, they plan to participate again this year. So if you're looking for a testimonial, it's return business. So hats off to the Chamber. And 22% of the people who responded were even interested in becoming a sponsor. They're willing to step up their participation and support for the program. And about 1 out of 5 people were interested in giving a testimonial. So all in all, very, very good feedback from the participants. Some what I consider actionable feedback. The numbers are good, so what do you take away from that? What can I do as far as improving the program? There's really 2 different buckets of feedback. One is, and this sums up all the great feedback that we got. Awesome experience, very well organized, prep information, very helpful. Thanks for the help. Well designed and executed. You managed to make the event enjoyable for vendors and attendees alike. Totally impressed with you guys, and that's the Chamber staff and the volunteers. There was a couple of instances where we fell short. That's going to happen. They're very, very specific to somebody's unique situation. That being said, is probably the most actionable takeaway we got from the last year's Expo survey was, seemed to be more general public attendees and other business owners. Is it possible to attract more Chamber members with an after hours that starts 5 to 7 for the end of the portion? Just a thought. So can we make the Expo more of a B2B forum? So here's the takeaway. The Expo works because it's a team effort. Just remember that. This works because it's a team effort. Participant prep, that's the business owners who are planning to have a booth. drives the perception of value. The better prepared you are, the better you feel about your chamber experience, about your expo experience. So the monkey's on our back as participants. Chamber communications works. It's a great way to stay in touch with other business owners. And there is a B2B opportunity in the expo this year. I think that's something the Chamber has developed for this year's program, is that we're just not marketing to consumers, but we're marketing to other business owners. So once again, the Chamber, the survey is a tool to improve the expo as a B2B lead generation tool. And that's all I got. Any questions? So, your homework assignment. After the expo, be cruel to be kind. Complete the survey. Details are very helpful. All right, if you have specifics to help make the expo a better experience, more of a B2B lead generation tool, put that down on paper. The Chamber can't build on those suggestions if you don't tell them. Here's where I give a plug where credit is due. Everybody please recognize the work that Sarah Smith does. It's a tremendous effort to coordinate the expo. I got it. And I know everybody's going to be very busy. That day can be really stressful. But remember, everybody here is after the same goal, which is to make the business community successful. Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to introduce Daryl Edwards. Daryl is a certified business coach, a man of a tremendous experience. I think you're going to find what he has to share very helpful in your preparation. Thanks again.
Good. How many of you, this is your first time in an expo or exhibiting anything for a business or anything like that? Good, okay. That's good. And how many of you are business owners here this morning? Okay, excellent. So today what we're trying to do is to do something that is all about you. All right, so let's say that. It's all about me. Say it, it's all about me. Because when you go back to your office and your workplace, it's all about who? It's all about your customer, right? All right, so this is all for you today. So sit back, relax, maybe take some good notes and all that, but it's all about you. Ask questions, because that's what it's all about today, all right? What I want to talk to you about today, 3 eyes of a business owner. This is not something I created, all right? Back in the mid-90s, a gentleman named Michael Gerber wrote a book called E-Myth Revisited. How many of you read that book before? Have you seen it before? None of you, okay. I recommend it. It's really a good book about business owners. The E-Myth Revisited. The E stands for entrepreneur, okay. And what he talked about, the E-Myth Revisited. Should have written that down, sorry about that. But it was a concept he talked about in that book after talk with many different business owners. He actually talked about one that kind of stuck out in my mind that kind of led to this, the 3 eyes. He talked to he worked with a woman that actually baked pies for a living. But she didn't start out that way. She baked pies for friends and relatives and all that, all different types of pies, and she was good at it. You know, so over the years, people were telling her, girl, you need to make these pies make some money off these pies. You can make a killing. You know, so over the years, she decided, I'm open for business. But she didn't really have any business experience, doing that. So over 3 years, it got to a point where she hated baking pies because she was running around doing all kinds of different things. She didn't know anything about accounting. She didn't know anything about warehousing. She didn't know anything about ordering. She didn't know anything about vendors. All she really wanted to do was what? Bake pies, right? So he came up with this concept and explained it to her that there are 3 different eyes that we look at as business owners, that we look at our business through. And the first eye, the 3 eyes are the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. Now, when you look at the eyes of the technician, what's the first thing that you notice about the eyes? Kind of bloodshot, kind of weary, because they're doing everything. A technician, I come from a manufacturing background. Technicians are mainly there to keep the manufacturing process going. They are there, if something breaks down, they're there to fix it. So their day is all about keeping things running, because when the manufacturing operation is not running, what happens? You lose money, right? When you're not producing your product, you lose money. So their job is pretty stressful because they don't know what they're going to be running into during the course of the day. So they ask questions like, what needs to be done? What needs to be fixed? All day long is what their life is like. So how much control do you think they have over their life, over their day? It's all reactionary, right? They don't know what they're going to be facing next. And they have external forces that control their day. Now, technicians in any operation, where we bring this back to whatever we do here, if you're going to the bank all the time, if you're doing QuickBooks all the time, if you are doing all different types of things that kind of lead you away from working on your business, you're not as productive as you can be. You agree? All right. So, but the technician part of what we do is very important. It's a needed entity. Is that correct? Okay. Now, the manager, on the other hand, the manager looks in the past. They look at problem areas. That's where their focus is. Looks back at what has happened. What does my sales look like last year? What did my inventory look like last year? And they compare and contrast. Now, if they're managing people, that's a whole different level. If you're always looking at behavioral issues, and you're always looking at what type of things that we need to address and how we fix that. So you're looking at the past. They're looking at ask questions like what happened? How do we go about fixing that? And how much control does a manager have? When you're managing processes, when you're managing people, how much control do you have over that? It varies. Some you go to different. Some of you may have been worked in the corporate world. Some managers may have more control than others, or they think they have more control than others, or they create a little niche where they have some type of control, but it's unknown. And they also responded to external forces. You with me? All right. Now, the eye of the entrepreneur looks in the future. They project a vision of what they want their business to look like. They look for opportunities. They look at things that they can do to make things better. They ask questions like, what if? How can I? How must the business work? So in this case, for example, with the expo, you may ask yourself, first of all, the first question you may ask yourself, why am I in the expo? Okay. What type of image do I want to project, from the expo? What do I want to get out of it? While we're there, what type of information do we want to get, from that? How do we use the expo to make our business better? Those are the types of questions you need to ask ahead of time. Now, when you do that, when you start looking in the future, and you start projecting in the future, you start doing the planning that Kim was talking about in your business, how much control do you have over that? A lot more control, right? You have all the control because now you're planning for the future. There are always some things unforeseen coming from the things that occur, but you have the control. And now you're using your internal forces on your business to direct where you want your business to go. Make sense? All right. Now, one thing I want to talk about, get my little flip chart here, to really drive this point home. Now, if you look at E is for the entrepreneur. You ready to see that? M is the manager. T is the technician. Now, this is the audience participation part of the presentation here. All right. Just give me a figure for a technician, just on average. What's the hourly rate they would make typically? Just throw out a number. $15 an hour? Okay. That sounds good? $15 an hour. All right. Now, studies have shown that we on average work about 2,000 hours a year. Okay? So 2,000 times 15 gives you what? What's the number? What's that count? 30,000. Okay. So 30K. Minus taxes. I'll let you figure that one out. All right. Okay, on average, what about a manager? In a company, in a business, on average, what would be the hourly rate?
20 to 22.
Salary.
25? 25? Let's say 50? Let's say 50. Okay. $50 an hour. All right, times 2,000, 100K, right?
What's per deal?
All right. All right, so 100K. All right, so entrepreneur, hourly rate.
Whenever you go kiss 750.
What was that? Zero. Hopefully not. Minus.
Times. I said, whatever you go kill.
Whatever you go kill. All right. So you wouldn't put a number on that, right? You know what it really is? It's infinite. It is. Think about it. It's whatever your imagination allows you to do. So when you start asking questions about your business, about, for example, what if I expand my business? What does that bring me? What if we expanded on the north side of town? What if we added more people? What if we sold products? What if we expanded our target market? All those sort of things. And this number can be whatever you want it to be. And you start asking those questions, it can be limitless. Now, there's a lot of work in it. All three of these levels are certainly required. But let me ask you this. If you look at your business, where would you want to spend most of your time? Technician level, manager level, or entrepreneur level? I'm going to give you a hint. Let me give you a hint. If you can make infinite dollars here, where would you want to spend most of your time? Okay? All right? So on average, what you would like to be able to do, most people spend a lot of the time here. Most people in the business spend most of their time as a technician, doing all the day-to-day activities, because that's what we're taught to do, especially those of us that have come from the corporate world. We spend all our time getting things done, working on the next problem, the next problem, the next problem, the next problem, putting out fires, that sort of thing. And we spend a lot of our time here, all right? Some of us, we spend a lot of our time managing things. You manage vendors, you manage people, you manage processes, all right? But how much time do we spend focused on the future, laying the foundation for where you want your business to go, where you want it to grow, that sort of thing. So this is really where you need to spend most of your time. On average, if you can spend 80% here, maybe 15% here, and 5% here. It's all required. Now, are you going to get there today? When you leave out of this room today, at the end of this seminar today, when you walk out of here, 80% of your time on entrepreneurial level stuff? Probably not. You're going to probably go back and see emails that you're going to have to address, issues that may come up. But this is some things you need to start, when you start thinking about to make sure you're on the right track and your business is where you really want it to be. Ultimately, do that here. Oh. All right. We want you to work on your business and not in your business. And what Michael Gerber talked about, he said the purpose of going into business is to get free of a job so you can create jobs for other people, which is really important, kind of like today, isn't it? So you can live an expanded life, expanded, stimulating new life. How many agree with that? Why did you go into, how many of you went into business just to find something to do? How many of you want to make money in your business, right? I think that's the bottom line. You really want to make money. And if you can do that and employ other people in the process, it's a great way to go about doing that. All right. Any questions on that? All right, we'll have some questions for you. All right. One exercise you may want to take some notes on. Would you look at a 5-year vision for your business? If you could wave a magic wand, what would your business look like 5 years from now? Where would you be working? How many people would you have? What would you be selling? What services would you be providing? Where would you be living? How many hours will you work a week? All those types of questions. Just keep asking yourself why. You know, why do I want to make $100,000? Why do I want to travel more? Why do I want to spend more time with my family? Those sort of things. You keep asking yourself why until you get it really down to specific items that are concrete, that mean something to you. And then this week, I know it's Friday, within the next couple of days, think of 1 or 2 specific actions that you could take to start moving yourself in the E portion of your business. And if you're really serious, if you do it today, put a deadline on it, put a date on it. All right? Questions? All right. Well, if you have any questions, hope you got something out of this morning. Yeah, we have some more things for you this morning, but what I'd like to do, if you have any questions for me, I'd like to introduce you to a very talented, very smart young lady who is known in these parts as the marketing guru. I'd like to introduce you to Ellie White Stevens.
Thank you. So, it's always good when you're headed on a trip to know what kind of car you're driving, and so that's kind of, I think, what Daryl's talking about here. You know, knowing your business, knowing where you want to go, having that roadmap. And so, some of what we're going to talk about is a little bit about what you're going to pack for this trip, what you're going to take with you as you head into the expo particularly, but really with business in general. Hopefully some of the hints and tips and ideas that we give you will be useful for all aspects of business, not just for this one time, once a year expo, but for everything that you do. So the question would be, when you're heading into an event like expo, why do you need professional materials? Why do you need to do that? Why have a flyer? Why do that? So there are a couple of reasons that I bring up that have to do with branding in general, but specifically for this, it's about credibility. It's amazing how one piece of paper with your logo on it and some information can lend credibility to your business. And even if people don't read it, it can still kill your credibility if your materials don't jive, if they're not branded well together, if they don't all suit each other. For example, a company that uses one logo on their flyer and a different one on the business card, and on the banner it's something else, that's a credibility killer. So we want to avoid that. Additionally, we do branded pieces for memorability. So credibility and memorability are what I call the bedrock of branding. If you don't have both of those two factors, credibility and memorability, there's no brand there at all. So it's the gold standard. So here's how a flyer or a brochure can build that. The goal with a piece for those kinds of things is that people are going to take it with them. So say they stop by Kay McEnroe's table and they talk to her a little bit and they pick up her piece and they bring it home with them. Well, there's a good chance they'll pull it out of their expo bag and take a look at it. Maybe they're just going to throw it over, but they see her name. And maybe she was smart enough when she met with them at expo to collect some information from them. Maybe she got their email address or their phone number or both, and she follows up with them. Well, they're going to remember her just a little better because they saw her name again. But maybe they're interested immediately in listing their house. So that's when they might read through all the articles. They're going to look at everything. They're going to be very interested in that. So that piece of being able to connect with people and then having that opportunity to speak to them when you're no longer there is why you might put together some kind of marketing material. So that's the goal. Have it touch their hand one more time. Just once more. Even if it might wind up as, you know, in the paper file folder that goes to the recycling bin or whatever. So the third reason that I'm going to say to have materials of some kind would be that you speak to the interested. These are the people who are ready, willing, and able to buy. Those people who are actually going to read what you hand them because they actually need what you have. They're interested. The more research shows that the more information you give someone who is interested, the more likely they're going to read all of it. So do any of you remember getting in the mail the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes? Do you remember that? Okay, who can tell me what was in that envelope when it came to your house? Do you remember?
Those little stamps.
The stamps, that's right. Do you remember what else might have been in there?
My lucky star.
The stars, that's right, stickers, right? Like little star stickers that you have to affix to the other little postcard of peace. And then, and who else remembers what might be in there? A little scrape off thing for, did you win the extra special discount thing? Yes? Anyone else? There's a return envelope. Does anyone remember like page-long letters that were in there about how it works and why you want to do it? And there were letters. There were letters, there were scratch-offs, there were stickers, there were stamps, there were forms on which to affix the stamps. So you could put in that you want these 8 magazines. Remember, and if you got those 8 magazines, that 9th one might be free. Right, okay, so though that mailing campaign was wildly successful, it's why you got a new one at your house. I just have to know, does anyone not know what I'm talking about? Anyone? Okay, just good. You guys are all good. So you know, the idea here is the more information that was given people, the more details, the more involved people got in it, the more successful it was. It flies in the face of keep it short and sweet. It's kind of surprising that way. People who are interested will delve deep and will get really interested in something. And that's how that piece works. And that can work too for why instead of just having a 2-page flyer, sometimes 4 is better, right? Sometimes. So that's speaking to the interested. So that junk works. You know, a little bit of that sticker stamp crazy nonsense, it can work. So it's a little bit true for business too. So here is the temptation. The temptation is, I would like you to all pretend that I'm gorgeous and glamorous. I look just like Peggy Thomas. You guys know Peggy Thomas? Peggy, okay. Pretend I'm Peggy Thomas. The temptation at a booth, Daryl, come stand up. The temptation at a booth is that Daryl comes along and this is what I want to do. Hi, I'm Peggy. Would you like to have some of my information? This is about Club Z and home tutoring, and this is what we do, and I would really love to have you call. And yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thanks
only
very much.
great very much, and he's going to be like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm just gonna... Why? Because I just paper bombed him. So the goal here, thank you so much. Everybody give Daryl a hand. Wasn't he wonderful? The goal here is not, when you get your fabulous new marketing, glamorous, fabulous, when you get your fabulous new marketing piece, the goal is not to hand it to everyone who comes to your booth. That's a ginormous mistake. You never want to force materials on others because, A, it's expensive. Printing costs money. Now, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Rick, does printing cost a whole lot of money? No, but it costs some money. So, you know, you want to be judicious with how you use it, and because it can add up if you're handing paper to everyone. But the real reason is not how much this paper, which could be a couple cents a copy if you're printing enough of them. The real reason you want to be concerned with this is you want your marketing to work, right? And you're best off engaging someone in conversation and kind of asking them if they want one of these. Having them have some buy-in, you know? Well, we've been talking, you know, I have some information about how we've helped more students with our tutoring programs. I've got some stories here. Is that something that you'd be interested in taking with you? And then try to hand it to them. Once you've had a conversation about their little Joey who needs to learn how to do his fractions better, you know, then it makes a little bit more sense. So, all right, so the strongest thing, of course, is when someone comes to your booth, asking them for their contact information and following up by emailing them a piece like this. That has no printing budget behind it at all. You want some at your table for people who clearly want something to take with them, but you can also use pieces like this as a PDF that would be emailed immediately post-event. Can be a great way to follow up and engage. So it takes how many contacts to sell to someone? How many times do you need to touch base with someone? How many was that, Jim Wothorpe? 5 to 7 is close. It is 5, but to what? Depends what kind of business you're in. It's 5 to 12. So most people give up after which contact would you guess people give up? First, second, third. Most, like 80% of people are out by the time you get to the third contact. So people who are really interested in selling, they need to be thinking more like 5, more like 12. So that's pretty key. Now, so that is your alternative to paper bombing people. It's when you're chatting with someone, ask if they'd like more information. If you see someone looking at your signage or looking at that banner and looking at everything you do, Kim, what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do if I'm like reading what you do? That's right. You say hi. Did you know that that is the #1 most effective pickup line? Not that you guys were looking for pickup lines. I mean, I'm just saying though. #1 most effective pickup line. Hello. It works, right? So, but it works too for a trade show. Say hello to people. Be approachable. Never sit behind a desk, ever. Stay standing and stay in front of your table, even if that means you move your table back some minutes behind you.
So you'd recommend pushing it back against?
I would push it back and stand in front of it. If you're behind that table, it's a barrier. Yeah, so. All right, so if you see someone looking at your signage, ask if they want some more details. Say hello, be friendly, be approachable, open that conversation up. You want to have a display or a stand that's going to invite people to grab whatever's on your table so that they know that that's information they can have if they want it. All right, so we are going to chat for a while about how to create some better materials. Somewhere at the bottom of the stack of the papers that are right in front of you is something that I very fondly call the flyer, because it says at the top, build a fabulous flyer. Isn't that appropriate? See? Yeah, if you didn't get one, Sarah's got a few more. Okay, so how to build a fabulous flyer. So good branding, again, is where you want to start, and that's the stuff that's creating memorability and credibility. So for me, it's purple. Who knew? Who knew? So we've got purple swirls and purple nests and all the purple going on my flyer, flyer. And at the bottom, you'll notice my logo. And you'll see that it's the same there as it is on my name tag. And it's the same there as it is on my website. And that's consistency. And that's what's going to build that credibility. And that's what I like to call foundational branding. If you don't have that kind of foundational branding for your business, I would like you to see me or give me a call after this seminar, because that is a piece of the puzzle that you definitely need to have in place for successful business going forward from now and for the next 20 years. Foundational branding, it's a real key. You'll see that I've got on here a nice large catchy headline and a snappy little description underneath. That's a great idea. Did you know that if you are reading a newspaper, and when we read newspapers, the #1 thing that gets noticed first are headlines? And some people read the newspaper and only read the headlines. So it goes for truth when you're doing marketing materials that your headlines need to be key. Some people just throw a lot of body copy on there. Very ineffective. Headlines. But you do have to have some body text, because as I said it's the people who are interested who will actually read your stuff. So if you're speaking to the interested, that's what you do in your body text. Later on, I'm going to be doing a little seminar that I call A Minute to Spin It, how to speak more profitably in 1 minute. And some of the things that I teach about how you should do a flyer are also the same way that you should be speaking to people. But one of those pieces is to always provide some new information. So that's this paragraph that says useful new information starts your body text, says you're an expert. So useful new information, be sure to start there. And you know, when you're speaking to people, I've always heard that useful new information is for the left-brained person. And then immediately after that, you want to tell a story for the right-brained person. So that might be why I would have that testimonial in there. Now, you can tell a story, or you can have a quote, and either one is going to be effective. They're both a good way to do it. But you know, here's the thing about right and left brain. Chris, do you have a right brain?
I hope so.
Do you also have a left brain?
I hope so.
Living, breathing people have both a right and a left brain. Logical stuff might even appeal to the most creative person. So having a little of both is helpful. So the other thing that I have on this flyer that you might notice is an example of a flyer that I've done. There's a little photo type thing of a flyer that I've done for the Fayette County Development Authority. And a photo or a sample of what your business does. For example, the Camp Mimi, a dog, good idea. A big dog, a good idea. Huge, huge picture of a dog, by all means. I mean, you know the rule, guys. It's babies, sex, and puppies. And if you're running Camp Mimi, it's the puppies, right? So, all right, so include that photo or a sample of something. And then here's a key. Put a caption under it. Headlines are the top read. Photo captions in a newspaper article are next. So I like to use that to my advantage when I'm building a flyer, and you can do that too. So now a flyer does not have to be this 8.5 by 11 size. It could easily be this size instead. So a postcard can be something that's effective. Rick prints these too, so do I. A postcard is something that you can easily create that is less likely to do that crumple effect in someone's purse or bag. Because you know how it is. You have this thing and you know, somebody whatevers, and when they pull it back out, it doesn't look as nice anymore. So a postcard can be a good way to you know, conquer that problem. And I do recommend something that is two-sided, because otherwise this is just wasted space. And we don't want to have wasted space. We want to have good quality information on both sides. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a compelling offer. Free is the all-time most successful marketing word ever in the history of the universe. However, it's dangerous because when you use the word free, you acclimate potential clients into not paying anything for something. And that's difficult. So consider offering something free with purchase, or offering something free that doesn't cost you actual dollars. Consultations, that kind of thing. Consider what's going to give you the best advantage in addressing someone's concerns. For me, that is a free in-person marketing analysis. And so if you are interested in that after we've spoken today, please write the word free on the back of your business card and get that into my hands before we leave here today. And I will make sure that we have an opportunity to sit down and look at what you're doing and see where it could be improved. What you want to give away, it really can define you, but what you discount can kill you. I tell my clients that discounting is the very kiss of death. So be very, very careful at offering 50% off of something. It's partly because the profit margins decrease so greatly that it's hard to recover, and it's partly because of what that speaks to clients on the marketing end of things, of what the value is of your services. Like, what does it tell people about how you value yourself if you're offering 50% off to start? And will they ever be willing to pay full price? It's a tough deal right there. So if you don't offer a compelling reasons for potential clients to call you, and you may not, it's possible that you just go as a way of meeting people. Think about how you're going to collect their information. Are you going to give them a reason to give their information over? Are you going to have a drawing? Are you going to have a prize that people can win? Because you can bribe people with a giveaway. They may not be as dedicated a potential client. It might not have the level of buy-in that you're looking for, but you can get information that way. If your sales staff is good, if they're all nice and smiley like Kim Foreman, then it's possible that people will just give you their number. It's, you have to have a giveaway?
Well, I guess you're the expert.
You got to do something? Kim says you got to do something, and I'm inclined to think that might be true. You know, if somebody's really interested in your services, really, really interested, they might call you. But that's a big old might. It's going to work a lot better on the sales side of things if you're calling them back and engaging and being interactive and making sure that, you know, that you're connecting. So it's really good on a flyer to have easy to find contact information. I've seen people make the mistake of burying contact information in the middle of a flyer or only having at the top. People's natural inclination is to look for at the very bottom of a piece and find the contact information there. So even if people put something like call the number right here, I always have people repeat that information at the bottom of a flyer as well. So I've got some examples of these flyers and things that I've created, and my very attractive assistants, Daryl and Chris, are going to help get it to your tables here. Just like one here, one there. These are pieces I've done, except for this one. Let's not put that in. Yeah, just pass them around. And if you guys can just pass them around, pass it to the next table. I just want you to see some examples of what I would say are decent quality flyers and promotional materials that I've created. I grabbed a couple samples of a couple different kinds of a couple different clients, just so you'd have something to look at as actual examples. So you'll see that some of these, when they come around your table, look quite a lot like a newsletter. You think to yourself, isn't this a newsletter? And there's a reason for that. I'm looking to subvert the mind that's automatically will disregard something that is perceived as marketing or advertising. When people feel like they're being sold, they're not interested. They don't want to read it, they don't want to see it, and so I make things look a little, sometimes more editorial, so that people will be more inclined to read it as they might a newsletter. One of the most excellent ways to do that are through case studies. So that's all about the concept of telling instead of selling. I did that in the piece on Kay McEnroe that's going around. Yep, Kim's got that in her hands. There's a couple more out there. And I also did it on that piece for Club Z and home tutoring. Case studies are a great way to do it. If you can identify within your business people who have, like for example, if Bonnie were to identify the advertiser in her business that has found incredible success with their dealings with the bear, that they've just really experienced success, and she can tell their story in a way that makes other people who are like that client self-identify. Additionally, if she can tell it in a way that people who are not just like that client but who want similar results will self-identify, she can maybe attract more of the same kind of great client that she already has. And that's the purpose behind developing a case study and telling that in a compelling way. There are 103 different ways to do case studies. I oftentimes will tell them in newspaper editorial style. That's partly because I worked at the newspaper for 7 years. It's partly because I have a minor in journalism and it's kind of how I think. But I've also done them in ways that are like problem solution. That can be effective too. It depends on who your audience is, and so that's a real key for when developing a piece like this, is thinking about whose hands it's going to wind up in. If you are dealing with an audience, how many of you market to women? Like your primary client would most likely be a woman. That's the person who's going to call you. That's the one who's going to spend the money. Okay, so if you are marketing to women, you want to tell it in more of a narrative style. Their brains work a little more that way. You want to tell a story. If you know that your client is primarily men, how many of you are aware of that you're dealing with business people primarily? You want to go a little bit more for a bulleted style that would be more fact, fact, fact. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple, make it clear. I have a rule with bullets though, because you'll notice we've got bullets on there and bullets on here. My rule on bullets are that 3 to 5, and preferably 3 or 5, always an odd number is preferred. It's much like bridesmaids in a wedding, you want an odd number. Just saying. So 3 to 5 bullets. What do you think the maximum number of bullets is that the marketing guru allows? Anyone? Anyone want to venture a guess? 7. She's the winner. Somebody works in marketing. Hey, how about that?
$1 million question. These are great. How much does it generally cost to get a 2-sider and to get a 4-sider if someone needed your time to produce that element?
Yeah,
outside of the printed
and that's a
cost?
great
The paper
question.
grade is gonna be
It's,
different.
well, sure, and it's totally going to depend. Most of the ones I handed around, I printed. So, but it's going to depend on whether or not you're getting a case study or not. My case studies start at about $500, and that includes interviews and writing and edits. So the case studies alone, that can be, and it then also depends, am I doing the marketing creation, the marketing writing? So I can sit down with people and work out, all right, here's what needs to be done to make this happen. We need to create a set of bullet points that are focused, that tell people what you do that people pay for. I call those selling points. But developing that core marketing message can be key, and that has, price tag associated with it. So it's really going to depend on the client on where they're starting. If they have a lot of their materials to start and they're just giving me stuff and I'm editing it, it can be far cheaper. So it just depends. Depends on where the baseline is, and so that's why it's important to sit down and evaluate and figure that out. But that's a great question because people want to know.
Think about using this tool as telling your story and the bragging bones about your business and your industry and what you do well, but as told by somebody else.
That's
so it
exactly
doesn't
it.
seem as braggadocious.
That's the case study. That is the point right there. Thank you, Bonnie. And that's exactly the reason why if someone were doing a radio commercial on Bonnie's station, stronger than standing up and saying, I'm Todd Vincent and I sell carpet with Carpet Direct and all of our prices are extra, extra low and we blah, blah, blah. A better one would be, hi, my name is Ellie and I recently called Todd with Carpet Direct and I was really impressed because he showed up right when he said he would and had some really fantastic samples that he was able to show me right in my house. And when I bought the carpet, it was delivered and installed within 2 weeks, and I was so thrilled with having that Stainmaster carpet that I know my 5 kids aren't going to ruin. So I recommend that everybody call Todd. Call Todd Vincent with Carpet Direct, right? Okay. So, and then his phone number pops up. Like, that's going to be a better radio ad. It's going to work better on paper that way too. So that's where these kinds of stories that you can collect and develop for your business are going to be super successful, not just for the marketing that you do on paper for Expo, but for the marketing that you're going to want to do tomorrow on the radio and the next day, yeah. So, and the thing about it is, suppose you're not able to get your client into the radio office. That's when you get vocal talent and you have somebody pretend to be that client who actually did say those things. It rings true because it's true words, but it's, so there's ways to do it, right? Okay. Let me see if I got anything else for you at the moment. All right, so case studies. All right, how many times do people need to be contacted before they buy? How many did we say? 5 to 12. Okay, it bears repeating because we are so quick to give up and say, well, the expo just didn't work for me because I didn't sell anything. Well, no. That's kind of not the point. So, some of your existing prospects and clients should also be informed that you're participating in the expo. So you might want to consider offering your deal to them, and here's why. Your existing client is the person who is what? Most likely to buy from you again, right? So if you want that next sale, you always have to be thinking about getting in front of the client again. So telling them that you're in Expo, it's a great excuse to contact them. It's a great excuse to say, hey, we're going to be at Expo. Stop by our booth. We have a special promotion for existing clients and contacts. We have a special, if you show up at our booth, we've got a gift for you. We want to see you there. You know, it's a good way to engage and interact with your existing clients. How many of you are active on Twitter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How about on behalf of your business? Good. 4. Good. Good, good, good. Okay. That's good. This would be tweets about the deal that you're going to provide at Expo, tweets about where you're going to be on that day of, tweets from the event to say, hey, we're here at the Expo. It's just, again, an excuse of what to tell people that what's going on in your business, how to engage, how to interact. Good stuff. You could even offer a Twitter special, a Twitter follower special. That's only for people who might retweet you or who visit you at your booth.
Do you have any tips for getting followers, getting more followers that are your target?
I can tell you what I do. What I do to engage on social media is connect with my associate, Maggie Layton. And I would refer you to her regarding social media because she has far more depth of experience and research into social media than I do. Because, you know, in marketing, you can only know so much about your stuff, and then you better be calling on other people. And that's why people hire me, and that's why I hire her. And so,
What was her name?
Maggie Layton, Laton. And I can give you her number. I've got it in my cell phone. All right, so another thing to do might be, how many of you are on Facebook? Yeah, okay, great. Did you know that 1 out of 7 posts on your Facebook, if it's your personal account, can be about business? So this might be a good thing to mention to your Facebook friends, that you're going to be at Expo and that you have some deals going on for that for business. You can make it an excuse to contact people. So this is also why it might be wise to put this kind of participation in your email newsletter. How many of you do an email newsletter? A few? Yeah, oh yeah, okay, quite a few. Good, yeah, so putting it in your email newsletter, it tells people that you have a lively business, it tells people that you're going places, it tells people you're community oriented and that you're communicative, and so this is why we want to do that. How often should you send out communication to existing clients? Anyone know? Anyone want to venture a guess? Once a month is about right, every 4 to 5 weeks. Any less than that and you don't remain top of mind, you can't possibly remain top of mind. So good call. Good call. All right, so we are going to talk a little bit later about some follow-up timing, about things to do, but you do need to be determining what will be in your follow-up. You've got to know ahead of time who in your organization is conducting follow-up. How many of you are solopreneurs? Who it's you, and that's who it is? Okay, yeah, there's a few of those. So you know who's going to be doing the follow-up. Look in the mirror, smile at yourself, and say, it's time to win. And then there's, how many of you have people who handle some client interaction on your behalf? Okay. So letting those people know before Expo what's going to be expected of them will net much bigger results and better results than throwing it at them afterwards and saying, okay, here it is, call a bunch of these people. They're going to be like, whoa, wait, what? Yes, so a good follow-up plan should include the materials that you're going to use to connect. That might be PDF flyers. It might be a story that you send out via email. It would be a great idea to write those things before Expo so that when the first 2 to 3 days post-Expo happens, that it doesn't happen to you, that it doesn't happen to you or sit upon your head, that instead that you're ahead of the game. So All right, so one real key for that contact post-expo with people, what do you think is the best form of contact for people? It totally varies, and it depends on the person you're talking to. However, the best kind of contact, I'm going to say, is personalized contact. Like if you just send out an email blast to everyone all at once who came to your table, not super effective. You want to put their name in there, and if you can make notes for yourself as people come to your booth, maybe on the back of their business card about what they said or how they, whatever. I mean, even if it's a lady and you're talking to a lady, it would be okay to even say, hey, that was a fantastic purple dress you had on. Just want to compliment you on it. Hope you give us a call later. Anyway, if you're going to give away a giveaway or a prize, again, you want to publicize that. Use your social media where you can. And then continue to use that as a PR source. If you have a drawing and somebody wins, fabulous couple of tickets to Delta Airlines or something. Like, it's a great prize. You know, I'm going to get the camera and we're going to take a picture. It's going to be me and Bryce and we're going to be in this picture and we're both going to smile really big because he's going to be so thrilled that he won the Delta tickets or whatever. So get that picture, see about putting it on the Facebook page, put it on your news and events on your website, get it in the paper, whatever you can do to publicize at that point. So the keys to your expo materials: keep it credible, keep it memorable, speak to the interested, and this is going to keep you on the path to profit. Any more questions?